Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers podcast. Meh. What is going on, Clint Nation? Happy Monday to you all, wherever you may be. Hey, listen, we are a week away from spring training, and players are already at Camelback Ranch. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to have a whole bunch of takeaways from DodgerFest, FanFest that happened over the weekend. I was there. We'll talk a little bit about it. We're going to also let Kevin cook and talk a little bit about MLB firing an umpire today and other things, a whole bunch of stuff on today's edition of the All Dodgers podcast. I'm going to bring in Kevin now. There he is. Guys, sound off in the comments. Let us know where you're representing your Dodgers fandom today. Drop those area codes. Drop your excitement levels in the chat. Drop your pants. How are you feeling, man? Like, we're seeing videos, we're seeing clips, and we're going to talk more about it in a second, but we're starting to see these players getting there a week earlier than they need to, and it's not just like, Michael Grove who's there. Like, there's Mookie, there's Shohei. It's big names, real names, grown-ups in the chat. How are you feeling?
Good. It's nice to see some guys throw a small white ball and have gloves on their hands again. As soon as they signed Sasaki, like, all right, let's just end the offseason. Let's just get to games again. I'm over it. Let's just go.
Yeah, it's we're hoping, we're slightly expecting a few more signings to happen along the way when we do eventually get to real spring training, and we get to that 60-day injured list opening up for the team and all that kind of yada yada. So yeah, we're going to have some fun with it, and we do got some clips. Sandman Logic pointing out all the Japanese channels are showing the players doing their thing, and we do have some footage in the show coming up in just a second. But before we get into all of the fun, all of the excitement, I want to tell you guys about Bet Online, because the biggest betting weekend of the year is finally here, which means there are updated odds and props for Super Sunday. I got my stuff locked in, but we'll talk about that later. But BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. They have hundreds of prop bets, MVP odds, exclusive in-game live betting. BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion, whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor. BetOnline offers you everything and more to enhance your game day experience. Visit the website today and make game day action count a little bit more at BetOnline. The game starts here. Now, fun, excitement, baseball. Let's look at some clips, and we'll let people file in. And that's not the one I want, but we'll talk about it. Here's a little bit of this character, Shohei Ohtani, throwing a baseball. I hear he's pretty good, and there's a chance that he's going to be
at Will.
looking at Will the Thrill Ireton, of course, but of Shohei. We're going to talk more Shohei as well in a little bit, because that was part of the updates. But of the players and personnel that have already reported to Camelback Ranch. Again, a week early, we do see Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto throwing off a mound. Bobby Miller is there fighting for a job. Anthony Banda, Michael Grove, Mookie Betts, Miggy Rowe, they're getting some work in at shortstop. We're just so close to baseball. I can taste how close we are to baseball, and I don't want to just rip off all of this person's hard work and videos. So do go subscribe to whatever those Japanese characters mean. But yeah, Miggy Rowe's in there. Maybe missing a Kiké Hernandez at shortstop, might be popping up at some point in the next couple of days, because the front office did sort of address the Kiké Hernandez situation at FanFest. I talked about it a little bit earlier on Dodgers territory. We'll talk about it more here. But Mookie Betts, man, you missed it. You were gone last Thursday. We talked about I'm calling him your shortstop. My friend Greg Bergman, still not a fan of the Mookie Betts shortstop experience, but you were the guy. I'm going to say you were the guy who championed this whole thing. How do you feel about seeing Mookie now getting those reps at shortstop and making it real this time?
Good. I mean, I feel way better about it this time around than I did when he had 6 days notice or whatever it was. I like that he's getting in work. I think he's someone that needs to be challenged. He's mentioned he gets bored in the outfield, so I think this is just good for him. It keeps him active, keeps him engaged. it's regardless of what you say happens or how this turns out, you can't say it was for a lack of trying. Because we see him already. He's out there early. He's getting reps, and he's working with Miggy Rowe. Easily the best shortstop on the team. Definitely one of the better defensive ones in the league. So he's got the right guys in his ears. He's putting the work in to try and get better. I'm excited. I think it'll be fine, but that's what it needs to be. It just needs to be fine. Don't got to be great. Don't got to be like insane. Don't need to be the best shortstop ever. You just gotta just be fine. Don't every time the ball gets hit over there, I just don't need to have my blood pressure raise.
And I think another one of the things that kind of excites me is knowing, I don't know if it excites me, but it does make me feel a little bit better knowing that like Chris Woodward is back with this organization and on the field with this organization. And that's somebody who, like, you look back to Justin Turner, how much he specifically credited Chris Woodward in helping his throwing, because we know with Mookie Betts the issue was the throwing, and he can go out, he can get to a ball with the best of them, that's not an issue at all, but to be able to throw that ball over to Freddie Freeman, who's very good, he's got some gold on his glove, that tells you he's good about catching the ball, receiving the baseball. I like one of the things Dave said at FanFest. So, yeah, let's really dive into the takeaways from FanFest, DodgerFest, as they've called it the last few years. But Dave and these Dodgers, they, quote, feel great about Mookie at shortstop. Of course, you're going to be saying that right now, so you take it with whatever grain of salt you want. The quote was, Mookie has worked so hard at shortstop this offseason. I feel very good where he's at. Certainly more comfortable and confident than I did last spring when we thrusted upon him, which is what you just kind of pointed out, something we talked about. We've talked about it a number of times this offseason. It was, hey, you got about a week to 10 days to figure out how to be a major league shortstop before the start of the season. And he had his good moments. He had his bad moments. Eventually everything kind of came together and he hurt himself and he went back in the outfield. But Dino Ebel told me on Dodgers territory afterwards, after he got back to the outfield, the throwing got better. I think the outfield throw made him remember how to do the infield throw, and then everything was, by that point you just keep him in the outfield. But now they're feeling good. They're apparently feeling good. Mookie feels really good about it. His quote is an asset of mine is being able to play anywhere the team needs, and this may have been something that the team needed, because we've had some back and forth about whether or not this is a Dodgers idea, this is a him idea. Maybe he watches the show and he was like, I want Kevin to sound smart, and he was the right guy. But one of the things I really, really like is the final thing he said, every time I put my glove on, the mindset is to make it gold. Doesn't matter where it is. And he told that to my buddy DMac_LA, because we credit people here at All Dodgers. Do you feel, again, you were the guy. You were always the dude who was trying to I laughed in your face at the idea of Mookie Betts being the shortstop. Do you feel better? Do you feel the same after hearing the team and mainly him talk about it at FanFest, or where are you at?
I feel better. I don't know. This wasn't a situation where I was ever going to feel bad. I was always going to feel good about Mookie Betts playing shortstop, because I think he's somebody that we've seen it. He's one of the best athletes in the world. Everything he does really well. But also ask him to play the hardest defensive position in baseball on a whim. Yeah, everyone's going to struggle for the most part. So I feel good about it. I think we're going to see the best version of Mookie Betts at this position now. And we'll figure out real quick, yes or no. And if it's not, they'll move him straight back into the outfield, because I still don't think that's necessarily off the table. Or they'll move him to second base. They'll move him somewhere else if they absolutely need to. I do feel good in terms of starting day, opening day, starting lineup, Mookie Betts shortstop. Yep, let's just write it. Let's pencil him in and play ball.
Yeah, like Greg and I talked about last week, and we got some comments we'll dive into. Again, sound off, share your thoughts about this team. Share the video, guys. Like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. Let's get some people going in the chat. Bit of a slow start so far, but we're still going to have fun. A lot of show ahead of us. But one of the things we were Greg and I were talking about is whatever you just said. I lost it. What did you say?
That feels good. It's the best. Like in terms of if you want to see, we talk a lot about how Mookie's like one of the best, if not the best right fielder
That's right.
in this generation. And he's an incredible athlete. Well, now we're going to get to see him actually put his athleticism to the test. We're going to see just how good an athlete he is because now he's going to move where pretty much nobody does. Nobody moves into the infield. Nobody goes from right field to shortstop. Usually you move into left field. They hide you. But no, he's actually moving to the infield. And we get to see his, 0.001 percentile athleticism on display. And that's really exciting for me. And I think because he's really putting his mind to it and he's preparing as much as he is, I do think that he's going to succeed. Now, how you define success for me is just be like close to league average.
Yeah.
I think that's a success.
Because the bat, and that was one of the. That's what I was getting to. It's like you have a sort of. This is a team. This is a Dodgers team. They're going to go out. They're going to win. The division. They're going to make the playoffs. That's not going to be an issue. You have a few months of leeway to figure this out. If it doesn't work out, cool. You tried it. If it works out, and that was what I was going to say with Greg. He was saying, like, his way of saying is like, how is this front office being so stupid about this? And I was kind of like, yeah, I'm battling back about that. I don't want to throw the front office under the bus. We like what they do. They're pretty good at building teams, but it's like, if it works, they're genius. If it works out, you have arguably the best, defensive or not defensive, but at least the best offensive shortstop in baseball, or somebody you could put in the top three if you're able to put Mookie Betts, superstar, all-star, Gold Glove Award winning right fielder, 3-time World Series champion, all this bullshit. If you could put him at shortstop and he's good at it, You're in a phenomenal spot. We got a $4.99 super chat from our friend Richie Flores, and you'd be surprised to know that Richie is maintaining he's not a fan of the idea of Mookie at short, and I understand it. You guys know where I was at. I'm trying to pull myself across the other side of the aisle and at least see. I want to see Mookie at short. I want to see how this offseason, how a full offseason of him learning and playing the position works out. But Richie says Mookie at shortstop will be great. Sincerely, Chris Hatcher and Brandon League. And oh no, he said Brandon. What's the worst name there, by the way? Hatcher or Brandon League?
League.
Yeah, I mean, they did try to make him a closer. At least with Chris Hatcher, like Barnesy and Kiké came along with him.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. See some frustration in the chat about how much we talk about this specific topic. Spoiler alert: we're gonna keep talking about it only because it's arguably the most important factor in the Dodgers' success in 2025. Like, obviously there's pitching health, which is like definitely up there as well, but so is Mookie Betts playing shortstop. His ability to play that is going to shape the entire roster for a trade deadline, moving into the postseason, everything. It bends around, it revolves around his ability to play shortstop. If he's great and he does well, perfect. We can set it, forget it. We're going to see how he does in the postseason. If he falters, guess what? Now we got to talk about, okay, where do you move? Do you move him back into right? How does that change the dynamic of the outfield? Do you just move him to second base? Do you bring Tommy Edman in? Like, it changes a lot. That's why it's so important. This is such an important topic, is because he's really the straw that stirs this like defensive drink. Why is Mookie so insistent on playing shortstop? He came up an infielder, and he always wanted to play shortstop. They didn't let him play infield in Boston because they had Dustin Pedroia, who I've heard is pretty good at baseball.
He was pretty good. Yeah. No, I love that. I think you cooked right there out of your kitchen there, Kev. He wants to do it. We're going to talk about it because it is the biggest storyline entering spring training. It's going to be the biggest storyline for the first month or two of the season, just like it was last year. To Cole's point, I'm bored of it as well. The main reason I brought it up again after it being I wouldn't say unexpectedly, but after it being such a big topic with Greg last week, the only reason I'm bringing it up again is because FanFest happened and Dave Roberts talked about it and Mookie Betts talked about shortstop. That's the first time we've been able to really hear from them, and they had nowhere to escape. They had to answer the kind of questions. So that's why we're bringing it up, and I hope we don't need to talk about it a whole bunch. I hope in 2 months from now we're talking about like, damn, he's looking pretty good. Maybe this is going to work out.
Yeah, if we stop talking about it, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And, if we have to keep talking about it, then it could potentially be an issue. But, especially like, nobody loves watching spring training games. But guess what? We're going to watch spring training games because if Mookie Betts is playing shortstop, I want to know if a ball's hit to him, if he's going to throw it over the first baseman's head or not. Like, that's important. Those are the things you look for in spring training games. And that's why it's important to see him in the video that you showed or when it's talked about for the first time. Like, what are they saying? How are they feeling? Even if it is like just organization speak, it's something that, for as impactful as a position and as impactful as a role as he plays, that we have to go on because, like, spoiler alert, the Dodgers don't win without Mookie Betts.
This is very much a fact. Rick Montoya said, Mookie wants to be the man, and he's supposed to be the man. They pay that dude a lot of money, as Mookie will tell you. He drives nice cars. Drives a nice car, but also I'm pretty sure he has multiple cars. He needs to be
at least.
He needs to be the what's it called? He needs to be the spark plug for this team, and this, as you said, he's the straw that stirs the team's drink. At least he's going to be defensively, but he also is in that lineup. And whether he's hitting leadoff or now 2 behind Shohei Ohtani, Shohei Ohtani's going to get all the headlines and the accolades about the things he's going to do, but. Mookie having a postseason closer to what we saw from the 2020 run is why a huge reason why the Dodgers won in 2024.
Exactly was going to say that. It's, guess what? Hey, look, they won, and look who had an over 900 OPS in the postseason. Wasn't Shohei Ohtani. It was Mookie Betts. Mookie is the spark plug of the offense, and if he's feeling right, if he's feeling good on defense, he does generally a very good job of separating his defense from his offense. If he's on an offensive slump, he doesn't let it really affect his defense and vice versa. But we saw when they let him play shortstop last year, he came out of the gates on fire because he was just so engaged and he was just so ready to play and rise to this challenge. So I think we could see a really, really fun version of Mookie Betts. I think he's going to be 32 this year, something like that. Which apparently you're just dead. Might as well just like be bleeding dust.
A little bit. I mean, kind of, It feels that way at times. SK said earlier in the chat, why is Mookie so insistent on playing shortstop? And more so, if he wants to be in the infield, why not second? I way strongly prefer him to be the second baseman. However, this team does not have a clear shortstop. Miguel Rojas broke down there. He's now older. Chances are he's going to break down again. You hope not, but if Mookie Betts works out as the shortstop and all of a sudden you have somebody who can be your shortstop, who can be an elite level shortstop when you package everything he can do offensively along with defense that you hope is at least passable. If you're able to turn that guy into your superstar shortstop, like, it is just the biggest win, and it's going to help this team for the next 2, 3, maybe 4 seasons. You don't know how long it goes, but then you're able to put Hae-Sung Kim at second base, and he's gonna be, allegedly, according to reports, lights out as a defender at second base. You hope the bat catches up, and you have other options, whether it's a Kiké there, whether it's Max Muncy going to second base, which I understand people aren't going to be happy with me saying that in general, but still, I think it's easier to find a second baseman. And we saw the Dodgers do that for a while, whether it was a Mark Ellis, whether it was a Chase Utley, whether it was a Logan Forsythe. They kind of cycled through some second basemen for a little while. To have shortstop locked up, which has been a little bit of a shaky area since Corey left, to have that, Dodgers will be in a really, really, really good place.
Absolutely. Kevin Uhas, $20 super chat. Once upon a time last season, Clint didn't want Kiké on the team. Like Kiké, Mookie will prove that he'll be great at shortstop. Great, maybe asking a little too much. He'll be all right.
Hey,
And that's all we want. All right.
The important thing, the breaking news here for longtime fans or people that have been watching me on the internet, Kiké Hernandez unblocked me on Twitter.
Woo! Let's go. It's because you went to FanFest.
No, I think it's because of that one clip on here where I talked about him. If there's a recipe, you bring back that ingredient, whatever the hell it was. But anyways, Kiké, come on the show. We love you, buddy. You're my favorite Kiké Hernandez, my second favorite Hernandez for sure, because I love Teo. All right, enough of the shortstop talk, enough of the Mookie Betts talk. Let's move forward. Let's talk about Freddie Freeman, because Freddie, he was a chatty Cathy at oh god, I hate that I said that, but he talked a lot. For Freddie Freeman especially, he talked a lot to reporters at FanFest and touched on a number of things, including like, hey, why did you have your surgery on that ankle so late in the offseason? Well, the problem was, or what happened was, he wasn't going to have surgery. He was like, I felt good during the World Series. I figured I was fine, but he said the swelling didn't go down. Turns out, I mean, there was a bunch of shit wrong in that ankle. There's cartilage that got loose, cartilage that broke off and went into like his Achilles tendon, and like just problems. Apparently he waited long enough. I think you'll appreciate this. He waited long enough for his ripped tendons to heal, which is, good on him. But he did just start hitting, which is later for him than he usually does. About 3-4 days ago now, he said, is when he finally started taking some swings. He's not cleared to run yet, but that should start right around the time spring training gets here. He expects to be ready to go hitting wise, full bore by the time spring training gets here. Expects to be fully ready for opening day in Tokyo. The game situation, he's probably not going to play in a lot of A games with the Dodgers during the Cactus League season and all that. But as he noted, they got backfield games, and as far as I can tell, Shohei's going to be DHing for us in the big games. He can go to the backfield and get as many swings in as he wants. So I'm not worried about Freddie. I like the update, the fact that he said the swing already feels good too. Maybe he kind of needed that break because he's been through the off and on of his swing the last couple of years. World Series aside, where he went into God mode, where Dodgers also win when they get number 5s going into God mode.
It's pretty nice.
It is pretty dang nice. But Mattyman5 Dodge says Freddie will be fine. He'll be ready on opening day, and that's the most important thing. But anything stand out with you on the Freddie front before we move on to Shohei talk?
Every time he talks about his foot, it's just worse.
It gets worse
than
right?
we thought. First, it was like, oh, I rolled it all,
Yeah.
I'm trying to, I can't really put weight on it. It's really hard to run. Okay. Yeah, no, I can't even walk I couldn't walk for a couple days, was getting shots every 4 hours. Oh yeah. I also in attempting to swing, broke some cartilage in my ribs. I'm waiting till there's an update that he was like, yeah, I almost lost my foot at some point.
Yeah.
Almost had a below the knee amputation. Just, it's like the fact that he did what he did with, he wasn't even half a leg, like a quarter of a leg at this point. Doing anything with torn anything is really, really difficult, especially when it was his lead foot. It's pretty remarkable. Glad to have him. Just absolute grandeur. Love Freddie. Yeah. I was surprised when he said his swing feels good, because we know he's a creature of routine and habit more than pretty much anybody else. We know Mookie kind of does it by feel. If he feels off, he'll take hundreds of swings until he he'll outshoot his slump, is kind of how I look at Mookie Betts. But with Freddie, it's no. On a good day or a bad day, he's doing exactly his routine. Similar to with Kershaw. Kershaw's got his routine down to a minute. Freddie's very similar. So the fact that he's saying that his swing already feels good is surprising to me, because I was, if we hadn't heard anything, I was fully expecting a slow start. Just to get him some time to really, for lack of a better phrase, get back into the swing of things. But if he's saying his swing already feels good, yeah, maybe it was just he needed a bit of a break. He unfortunately for the Dodgers haven't had too many deep postseason runs recently. This is the longest he's played since 2021 when he won with the Braves. So, it's maybe he just needed a little bit of rest, but I'm glad that his swing feels good. We also know that when his swing feels right, like he knows when his swing feels right.
Yeah.
Like Chris Taylor will often say like, I don't know, something felt off. We're trying to figure it out. Like Freddie kind of knows what's off and he can diagnose it pretty well. So if he's saying his swing feels good, I believe him. I'm happy. But also if he starts slow, like no one is gonna blame him.
Yeah, I mean, swing wise, he's going to start slow, or at least body wise, I think he's going to start slow. He also talked about like he always looks like he's kind of running with the limp because he's running so slow, kind of feels like he's running uphill or whatever. But listen, man, he's never been the most fleet-footed of boy. Luckily, he can take those long strides. He's going to be fine. I'm not worried about Freddie. Even in the slightest. I'm definitely more worried about Mookie. Oh, darn, I brought it back. I'm more worried about other spots on the field than Freddie Freeman and that foot and the chest and cartilage and all that. Freddie will be fine. If he played through all the shit he played through last year, he will endure. He will survive. But the other... let's see. Let me figure out the best way to start this. Because, while I feel good about Freddie, I introduced... And Kevin, you probably saw it because every once in a while I'll just dump ideas I have into our Slack chat for YouTube. We're talking about Shohei Ohtani and coming back from the shoulder thing, from elbow surgery. He's supposed to hit. He's supposed to be your everyday DH. He's also supposed to be a frontline starter for this team at some point. But I wonder kind of like, let's set it up this way. He seems to be right on target from what the team is saying, if not slightly ahead of schedule in his rehab as a pitcher. They expect him to be fully ready to go hitting wise. By the time camp is going, he's already taken his swing. By the time camp's going, games are going. By the time we get into opening day in Tokyo, get into opening day in the States and all that kind of stuff. But if he's ready to go as a hitter and he's expected to be in the lineup every single day, how does the pitching rehab work? Where does he get the starts? How does he build up innings? Where does it go? What do you get out of it? What do you do with it? That's my question. What does the rehab look like if the season's already going? Because I've been thinking about it, and I don't know how that works unless he takes some days off or whatever to drive out to Rancho and pitch a couple of starts here and there. How do you think they work this out?
I did see you post this, and I was kind of mulling it over in my head, like how do you manage this? Because it's not like he can just if we're playing a series in Florida, it's not like he can just go do some sim games or go play for the Quakes or whoever.
Provided they want him in the lineup. Now, if he has to go on like an official rehab assignment or whatever, that's one factor to it. But anyways, go ahead.
So I think they're gonna. I don't know. Are we gonna talk Pacoda stuff later? Are we gonna touch on it, or can we just kind of touch on it now?
We can if you want. Go for it.
It's because it's related. So if anybody didn't see, Pacoda came out with their
2025 projections,
for the upcoming season, and they do like projected wins, losses, whatever, runs scored. The Dodgers, and I don't believe in stuff like this, have a 100% chance of making the playoffs, which I think is complete crap. Like they're not guaranteed to make the playoffs. There's a world where they don't. Okay. Like barring health or there's always a world where
people died last year and they still made the playoffs and won the division.
Anyway.
Okay, it makes you feel better. I get. All right, I understand.
Yes, I would prefer just say 99% just because there's no certainties. Anyway, my guess is if projection systems are saying this, I'm sure the Dodgers feel like this in some way. So they're going to use the regular season as just kind of like tryouts, like more so than they've done in the past. So what that could mean is, maybe they do make him go on a rehab stint. Like, okay, no, Shohei, you can't DH these two, or you're out of the lineup for 2 days because you got to go pitch with Tulsa or wherever they're playing, wherever's closest. Maybe they do that. Or because we talked about this glut of Cole, 99.8%. Thank you. Perfect. This glut of like pitching depth they have at the minor league level. What I could see happening is he does rehab starts basically at the major league level, which is never a good thing, but like he could throw like a 1-inning opener and then just have somebody follow him after that. Bring somebody up, throw them back down.
Yeah.
The next week, rotate somebody else as he builds up. But basically, like, you're kind of not really waving a white flag, because with this offense and this bullpen, you're never waving a white flag with the firepower this team has. But using it, the Dodgers have a luxury to kind of use major league games as spring training games, and I'm sure that's not going to get taken out of context whatsoever. But, like, have you seen this roster lately?
It's pretty good.
It's crazy.
Sources can confirm it is pretty good. By the way, Baseball Prospectus, Dodgers PECOTA projected to win 103.8 games. Miguel Rojas on Chris Rose rotation said, I think we win 120 games. What I has at 109. You're at 112. That's what we had a couple weeks ago. It's probably somewhere in the middle of those, but even so, I agree with you. They don't need to, like, nothing is black and white or cut and dry. There's a lot of gray area. Do I want to see Shohei Ohtani throwing an inning or two and kind of slowly building up during the season? No. But also, if that means you're not losing him in the lineup sort of thing, like, then I guess, like, I trust the front office, however they're going to do it. I'm sure they asked this question that just kind of popped into my brain. I'm sure they asked this question months ago, but it's going to be very non-traditional how they build them up.
Did the Angels ever have to do this? Like, because he only ever had, like, season-ending injuries. I don't think he ever.
I think there was one point where he came back from the Tommy John. He threw like 10 starts one year, but I think it wasn't like he was a hitter and then he came back. I don't remember who really watches Angels games. I didn't even watch for Shohei games, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, if it is one of those situations where, they have to invent their own book on how to do this, I'm sure it's going to be weird. I'm sure it's going to be awkward. But yeah, you can have a bulk guy. Landon Knack all of a sudden is a lot more useful if he's going to be that guy, or, Ben Kasparius needing to pick up some more innings or something like that. Wrobleski picking up 3 or 4 or 5 behind 1 or 2, 3, whatever it is. I'm sure he can get a lot done as well in like live BP and stuff like that, just so he can at least build up to a good baseline of 45, 50 pitches and then let it eat from there in a game. But still, it's going to be weird. Thankfully, it's happening now, and it's not happening in September or August or something like that, getting it out of the way early. And one of the other things Dave said, it's like, if he starts, in spring training, if he's throwing the ball well and like, the labrum surgery is feeling good and the elbow's feeling good and he's bouncing back, the idea of that May, they might not really, adhere to it. We could see Shohei Ohtani earlier. I doubt we see it, but we could see him earlier. The one thing Doc was adamant about is you won't see him pitching in the Tokyo series, which is a good idea. But
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a spring training start. Or do we still have the exhibition series? Is that still a thing?
Yeah. In Anaheim.
Series? In Anaheim, yeah, because that's the last spring training games of the year. I could see him starting one of those games. Again, give him 2 innings right there, just like, hey, this is your taste of, because you do need to see, like, where is his arm at? Like, he hasn't thrown to a major league hitter in 20 months, something like that. It's been a long time, so I could see them throwing him in that last exhibition game and just saying, okay, you get 6 batters, not even 2 innings. You get 6 batters, or maybe once through, you know what I mean? Just to see what it looks like. Can you get guys out? And then from there, they not really shut him down, but then they go to a more unorthodox version of ramping him up. Like, there's no book on this guy. There's no book on Shohei Ohtani because there's never been Shohei Ohtani, which is a great thing if you're a Dodgers fan.
Another factor here I didn't really consider as well, GI in the comments, and I'll put this one up on the screen. It's also going to be interesting.
Do that now.
Oh yeah, I've been able to do it. It's just kind of hard when you're trying to host and do all the other things. But he does need to qualify or requalify himself as a 2-way player. So he needs to get up to a certain innings count and whatever. That's going to be kind of a challenge for the team. We'll say. But appreciate GI bringing that up. So he is going to count as a pitcher for at least a month and a half if we're looking at 20 innings. And if it's a slow build up, if we're building this dude up, 1 inning, 2 innings, a start here and there, that's definitely going to add a wrinkle to how, again, the early middle quarter of the season, whatever, is going to look like for Dave Roberts and company.
I don't think it'll be too rough because they can assign him as a DH until he starts pitching, at which point they'll have to option somebody. And then you have to believe that once he starts pitching, he's not going to stop. So, yeah, I guess it'll be kind of weird because, like, if you're on a sick, I could see it being a really weird wrinkle. Maybe they use him as a reliever, like a long inning relief. I don't know. There's no, like I said, there's no book on it. We have no idea how it's gonna be really weird. There's gonna be spots in this season where, like, what the hell is going on? This has never happened before. That's because Shohei's never happened before. So.
Exactly. And you know what? It adds to the fun and the mystery of this team trying to run it back. There's so much talent. They'll figure out a way to survive it. But, again, it's just something where if we're talking about, the storylines of a team that's going to be so good, it's going to feel kind of boring at times. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it quite yet. I know I'm beyond hyped. I know I'm beyond excited to start seeing this team play right away. But if you're just like steamrolling teams, which is not going to happen because what are they winning? 99.8% or 99.8% chance of winning the division in your eyes. It adds to the wrinkle of the storylines you need to watch. How does the Shohei thing work out? How does Mookie at shortstop work out? What does Hae-Sung Kim look like, transitioning from KBO to MLB and all that kind of stuff. So,
all the new pitchers they added. We got Roki Sasaki. What does he look like in his first year?
Sasaki,
I know.
We're not
like
going
Snell.
to.
And Tyler Glasnow stay healthy. I had this last year. It's like, it's so good. Granted, they had so many injured pitchers that you were just watching to see, like, someone's arm going to fall off. But, when we go into the season, I don't really think there's going to be a boring spot because there's always going to be something interesting, or somebody interesting pitching. So
I was talking to a well-known figure at FanFest about how, like, oh man, the season's here. We got to go through this grind again, doing this kind of stuff, professionally. And I was like, that's the other thing that kind of got put in my brain is usually there's a Landon Knack start, there's a Kasperius start, there's a Wroblewski start. I'm not as excited about those. Now, as I'm calling them, there aren't as many filler episodes in this Dodgers season. You need to watch Blake Snell. You need to watch Yamamoto, Sasaki, Shohei Ohtani. You need to watch all the. When Kershaw comes back, you need to see history when Kershaw's on the mound. Like Glasnow, to me, is a great pitcher, but he's kind of like the boring dude in that rotation that I don't need to see every Glasnow start. But you gotta watch.
Gripping my armchairs every time he throws the ball.
By the way, we're gonna talk Glasnow. We're gonna talk Snell, Gonsolin in just a second. Elisheva Jones saying that she really wants to get Kiké Hernandez back. We do have that Kiké Hernandez update. We're gonna talk about in a second. I already talked about that earlier on Dodgers territory a little bit, but before we do all that, I want to tell you guys about Underdog Fantasy. It's the easiest place to play your fantasy sports, and it's now proudly helping support us here at the All Dodgers Podcast. If you want to make some picks on your favorite teams, all that kind of stuff, your favorite sports, with a unique fantasy style pick. It's a unique approach what Underdog does. It's a simple pick'em style format. It's easy for idiots like me, provided that you don't do the dumb picks I did last week. So it's something all of us could potentially maybe do together, I think, especially folks that join us on the Discord. But here is how it works. You just pick higher or lower on between 2 and 8 players, and you can win up to 325 times your entry. That says 100x. You can get 325 times your entry by using promo code ALLDODGERS. It's like right here. New users will get a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash, which is just as good as money. And I went ahead. I locked in my Super Sunday picks, my plays, if you will. And you guys can see I leaned very heavy towards my Eagles. Go Birds this weekend. Anyways, I'm hoping all those hit. Sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com today. Download the app. click the link in the description below. Use that promo code ALLDodgers, all one word, for your free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Thank you for hearing me out, and let's get back into it. Now, amongst the many people and players and things that happened at FanFest, there was also a Glasnow sighting. There was also Blake Snell, Tony Gonsolin. I mean, everybody that was on the 40-man, just about everybody on the 40-man was there. So it's kind of rapid fire, a couple of these. Glasnow, of course, ended the season on the injured list and is working on changing what he said. He explained it as like he overextended a lot on his delivery and his follow through. So they're trying to shorten him up a little bit, change the spine angle on his landing to help with mitigate some of the potential injuries. And what he said was, if it's easier to see it than him have to explain it. Thankfully, nothing wrong in the elbow. He just had the tendonitis. So Glasnow could, maybe will be available. His number one goal, just stay healthy through the 2025 season. That's a pretty fucking good goal, if I do say so myself. The other guy I'm more excited about, Blake Snell. He is already working, of course, with the Dodgers. You signed him to the type of lucrative deal that they gave him. You probably want to be working with the team already and working on a bit of a game plan, and that's what they're doing. They're working on some game planning stuff. He's already been working out in Arizona. He just came into town for DodgerFest. One of the things I really like that Blake Snell brought up is he's kind of aware of the challenges of the shortened spring training, something the Dodgers are going to be facing, of course, as they have to ramp up early for Tokyo. But that's something to watch. Like Blake Snell, I think of all of the guys, and I don't know if you share the same sentiment as I, but of all the guys that are kind of in this rotation to start the season, I think Blake Snell is the one guy that feels the most, just set him and forget him kind of thing. How do you feel compared to, let's say, Yamamoto, Glasnow, insert other names here, I guess Gonsolin in the mix there. How do you feel about Snell versus the rest of them?
Are you saying like setting and forgetting, like you're just not worried about injury?
Yeah, kind of injury and somebody you can roll out there for 5 or 6 innings every 5th or 6th day, and he should be pretty much, I'll say it a different way, plug and play.
We can play set and forget. We're going through all the fantasy football terms we have here. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm pretty much that way with Yamamoto too. I think they're just gonna get him on a schedule and just get him going. It's his second year in Major League Baseball. I think they'll figure out what was ever going on with the shoulder, and they'll just let him kind of be on a good schedule. If they have to, for each start, if they have to watch his innings, they'll do that. That's what happened with Blake Snell early in his career. But I mean, yeah, I think Blake Snell and Yamamoto are up there. Is like, yeah, I expect these guys to pitch once a week. They'll go about 5, 6, 7 innings if they're feeling really good, if they're pitching really well. I'm excited for Blake Snell. I actually kind of hope he doesn't pitch the Tokyo series, simply because I know he's somebody who really needs to get going, and he's better later than he is earlier. So I'd rather him just have like as much of a normal offseason as he possibly can have before he starts seeing like real game action
and a full spring training.
Yeah,
I can get that.
That could be pulling hairs. It's
yeah. I mean, we're here to create problems. We're here to kind of create problems and pull apart what could be something that's bad, something that's good, or whatever. And I could see that. I feel pretty confident about Snell. I mean, to maybe not have to have him travel with the team or something like that.
I think he should travel. But I don't. I think
a long plane flight and then
I know, but it's a camaraderie thing.
That's fair. And yeah, new guy joining a new team. All right. I'm bought in. I still think he starts game 2 just because you have to kind of throw out your biggest offseason acquisition, or at least one of your biggest offseason acquisitions. I don't think Sasaki starts one of those. I think it's Yamamoto opening day in Tokyo. But
if they did, though, oh my god, I'd be so sick if they did. Yu's gonna pitch one of them. You might as well.
It should be. I mean, they should both get opening day, man. I hope
should let the Padres borrow Sasaki for one start, and then we'll throw you.
I see my guy IB Strokin working in the chat. Says get in on all the behind the scenes conversations with credentialed media member Clint Pasillas. Guys, if you don't know, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg, or click the join button here on YouTube, and you could join us on our Discord where we're talking Dodger baseball all day long, all year long, amongst other things. Watching the Luka Doncic trade blow up on. I mean, I obviously butcher the last name every time, but still, watching the Luka trade happen in real time, Anthony Keene popping up with a holy shit. It's fun when things happen. Discord is really, really fun. And if you guys want to join us, it's only $5, and you're also, more importantly, helping support independent Dodgers coverage here on the internet. If you can't do all that and you still want to support us, please do hit that like button. Please do hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to the 10,000 subscriber mark, and we would love to be able to do it before opening day, whether it be Tokyo or domestic. I have no problem moving the goalposts back. Anyways, there's that. Another one of the names that is healthy amongst the starting rotation, factors or options. Tony Gonsolin. We got to see the Catman in the flesh. Meow. And he says he's 100%. He's ready to go. Had himself a fully regular offseason. He was ready to go, as they talked about. He was somebody who could have been an option to pitch for this team if they needed somewhere down the stretch in September and through October. Thankfully, was not needed, but he was asked, like, how do you feel about having to kind of earn a spot in this rotation? And, what do you think the workload is going to be like? He chose to focus on the workload part, which is, we haven't heard anything yet, of course, but I don't see, unless he gets hurt or is just straight up ass, I don't see Tony Gonsolin not being a part of that starting 5 or 6 to open this season, because you're still not going to have Shohei. You don't have Kershaw. You need to fill out your innings somewhere. Dustin May is going to be the weird one, but I don't want to get into a whole lot of it. We've talked so much about starting pitching and how it works and all of that. Anyways, Gonsolin good. Gonsolin healthy. Hell yeah. Young Yi says Lakers are ruining basketball. I also would have accepted the Lakers are ruining baseball just for fun, or the Dodgers are ruining basketball. A boring one. A boring one. A couple boring ones. We'll say they're boring, but Michael Conforto talked. He is a person. He is a human being that the Dodgers signed this offseason as expected. The people who really thought he was going to be wearing Dave Roberts' number 30 jersey, y'all are special characters, we'll say. But he's wearing number 23. The legendary Jason Hayward's former number, but he's feeling better. His big thing was he's feeling better, further removed from that shoulder surgery, and the Dodgers have already worked with him, kind of identifying some of the issues that he was dealing with some of his more prolonged slumps with the Giants last year and all that kind of stuff. He also said he's looking forward to playing at the warmer Dodger Stadium than Oracle Park, which is funny. Tommy Edman, here's the next one, because Tommy Edman, and I saw somebody in the comments saying they were rewatching some postseason games, this winter, and seeing a few Tommy Edman errors in there at shortstop.
Also made some really good plays, though.
He made some really good plays. Everybody, he was also thrust into that position as well. I think we kind of have a revisionist history of him being like, oh, he is the best shortstop available on this team, sort of thing. Maybe not that far, but some people might lean that far. To the point, the Edman update, he talked about buying a house and being cheap with his money, or painfully frugal, as he said it. But he said he is staying prepared still to play infield and outfield, which is the right call. And he says he understands his best value, echoing Mookie Betts, is having that ability to move all around. Of course, we keep hearing he's going to be the starting center fielder. We kind of really at this point still don't know who's going to be the opening day second baseman. Maybe it is Tommy Edman being the second baseman and Andy Pages in center, just because they're going to face Mikey Managa, Shota-san. How do you think, if I'm putting gun to your head right now to give me a split, what's the percentage of Edman being in outfield versus infield by the time all is said and done this season?
It depends on how many left-handed pitchers they face. So if they face a lot of, I think I think what it'll kind of come down to is Andy Paz will be in center field against left-handed pitchers. Tommy will be in there against right-handed pitchers, and then they'll just put Kiké in at second base the other games if
when he
it's
signs.
not, or Kiké, when he signs, or Chris Taylor, whoever. That's how I think that's split. I think they said he's going to get the lion's share of center field. I could see that. He's not the everyday center fielder. I don't believe that for an instant. This team isn't really built that way. They don't have an everyday center fielder. Andy Paz needs to prove he can be an everyday center fielder.
Yeah.
Especially defensively. He was one of the best bats on the team against left-handed pitching. So I expect to see him there. I think they'll plug him in as much as they can for that. But yeah, I wouldn't say it'll be even because there's more right-handed pitching.
I mean, yeah, I could see that. The other thing I was thinking about this, if this team does re-sign Kiké, or when they do, and they're still going to run with Chris Taylor in the mix, we've kind of avoided it, but there's sort of one odd man out, and it is kind of Andy Paz, who maybe could be better suited going back to AAA just so he can pick up more regular at bats. It's not pretty, it's not sexy, it's not ideal. This is a guy who did decently for the Dodgers in the postseason, did really well when he wasn't slumping, did really well for the team during the regular season. But that's one way. If you're trying to get Kiké and you're worried about having all of these spots available position player wise, that's one way. Is it an ideal way? No, but I figured I'd throw that out there. But we got to talk Kershaw and Kiké. Did you see the Kershaw quotes there from Andrew and from Gomer?
They've been talking, and they expect to be in more constant contact. Before we get to that, I want to mention one thing about Chris Taylor while we're on the subject. Because somebody brought this up. I can't remember what show or where I saw this from. They brought up that Chris Taylor's going to hit his 10-year service time mark at some point this year. The Dodgers have famously helped players reach that mark. They did that for Nick Ahmed, who has no ties to the organization whatsoever. So I could see a world where Andy Paz sits the majority of the year so that Chris Taylor can hit that, and just ride out the rest of Chris Taylor's contract. And then they bring up Paz and just let him be an everyday guy next year. But I do think that's a consideration that I hadn't been making. I don't think the Dodgers, especially for a guy who's done as much for this organization as Chris Taylor, I don't think they're a team that's just going to be like, oh, you didn't hit your 10-year mark. That sucks. And just let him go.
It's not super duper close. We're talking
it's
July or August, right?
I mean, I don't know how to calculate it.
From what I remember,
as of 1/2025, he has 9.037 years of service time. So yeah, he debuted July 24th, 2014. So it was
it's a decent chunk of season. Which they could definitely harbor him on the 40-man roster and on the active roster, but again, if we're trying to get to this point where we're creating a spot for Kiké, the one guy, the biggest roadblock is Chris Taylor. And if Chris Taylor's staying around, and if it is for something like service time, if it is for something like the Dodgers not finding a trade partner or not wanting to eat the rest of that $13-15 million total that's left on the contract. Again, Paz kind of is the one dude, odd man out. Cole says it's 130 games.
So many games.
It's a lot of games. It's essentially the entire season to be nice. Yeah. So
Jones.
I saw it. I don't agree with it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Elisheva Jones asking if we're going to be at spring training. I'm actually going to a spring training game.
You?
Yeah, but the funny thing is, it's for my friend's bachelor party. I'm actually going to a Padres spring training game. I'll be wearing a Dodgers hat, but I will be at a Padres spring training game. Other than that, I know I will not be attending any of the games.
Peoria it's fine. It's like one of the middle tier ballparks out there. When are you going? We haven't talked about this. When are you going? We connecting out there? What's going on? You buying me a beer?
It's my friend's bachelor party. I think I'll be busy. I'll be there the last week of this month, so it'll be the February 28th
Gotcha. You're going then. Yeah, I won't be there then. We are going the middle of March as we usually do, but even so. Elisheva also asked me, we're going to Japan? Oh, no. Gonna make that kind of money.
We're paying for weddings and honeymoon stuff, so
people got to like and subscribe to make that one happen. Quickly, so yeah, the Kershaw thing, hey, it's gonna happen. Just give it a week. Give it a week to 10 days. Clayton Kershaw will be back with the team. Let's talk Kiké, though. I talked about it earlier on Dodgers territory. I did want to touch on it again here on today's show. Dodgers, of course, the quote is, aren't shutting the door on Kiké Hernandez. We also saw a New York Post rumor linking him to the Yankees again. I think that was something forced. I still strongly feel that Kiké Hernandez has some sort of handshake agreement in place with the Dodgers, and Dodgers are better than anybody at bold-faced lying to fans about, oh yeah, we just want him to go where he feels his family is going to be the best taken care of, whatever makes sense for him and his family. The door's never closed on Kiké. Kiké is going to be a Dodger. They'll figure out how to make it work, and
yeah.
That's the reality. That is the reality. So I'll say it another way for the sake of getting a clicky title out of my head. Should we just start expecting to see him at Camelback Ranch next week?
Yeah, pretty much. I think Kiké, in terms of candidates I thought would reach this status, Kiké was the biggest surprise candidate. He's reached the status of, I think the Dodgers might just offer him a 1-year deal every year. Just dude, you show up in October, give him the Kershaw treatment, which is what's just surprising because it's Kiké Hernandez and we love him. He's amazing for this team, but he's not wasn't primetime Cody Bellinger. He's not Seager or anything like that. But he fills a role in this organization that nobody else does. He shows up in October, I don't know. Just keep giving him 1-year deals until he says no.
I mean, I think
I don't know what it would take for us to be okay, we're done. Because the glove plays.
Yeah, I've said it a few times. I think he's adult enough to not have an issue with that. Mm-hmm. He's going to.
He got his, shot with Boston. He was an everyday guy there. Towards the end of his tenure, before they traded him back, he saw less and less playing time. I think he's, 33 now? He's a little older, a little grayer in the beard, a little more mature. I don't think he necessarily, I'm sure he wants an everyday role, but I don't think he's going to cry over it if he doesn't. Yeah.
He finds a way. He finds a way to get in the lineup when it matters most in October.
Especially on this team. This team always has, I remember 2 years ago I was wondering where Chris Taylor was going to get at bats, and then he ended up starting 110 games or something. Yeah, they always find a way.
I feel really bad where each of the last few times CT has been with media, he's talking about how he just wants to be able to earn more playing time. He wants to be in more games. He really, really hopefully gets to be in more games this year. And I was like, oh, poor Chris. He's never done anything wrong in his life. Couple of things here. Eric and Josh in the chat trying to get me out to Japan, saying they will buy me a beer. So that's 2 beers I got waiting for me in Japan. I don't know that I've got the travel expenses laying around.
Well, here, we'll flip it. If you get us out there, we'll buy you guys a beer.
And that's an all Dodgers guarantee.
That's what we call bargaining.
Fly us out and give us room and board. Elisheva Jones, when will we see a new Dave Roberts contract, or see Dave getting a new contract? Let's see. I'm going to try to put a date on it right now. I'm going to say February 18th is what I decided.
When's the first spring
game?
Training
is the 20th.
19th. I'm going to go with the 19th.
You got 19th.
I'm gonna price this right you. I'm gonna $1 more, but not gone over.
You son of a bitch. We got $1.99 super chat from Ivan. Appreciate you, Ivan. Says, geez, clean your kitchen, Kevin. Yeah, what's going on with that random red bowl over there? What do you live in your house?
It's drying. It's a drying rack. Because the dishes are clean.
Hold on. Let's wide shot. Let's wide shot. Oh my God.
It's a drying
What's
rack.
that? What's that scene? Ghostbusters. Oh my God. Look at all the junk food. Anyways, Kevin Uhas, I like that. Kevin's going to buy you a beer in Peoria, or me in Peoria. I'm not going to Peoria this year, but we are going to a few different ballparks, not seeing a Dodger game while they're still in Arizona, but I am going to be seeing the Dodgers prospects take on the Cubs prospects.
Ooh,
anyways, moving on quickly, because we ended up talking about every little thing that happened at the Fan Fest, and I hope people have enjoyed it. I hope this was entertaining in some way, but I did want to let Kevin cook. And we got to talk about this Pat Hoberg situation. Of course, people who haven't been paying attention, Major League Baseball fired an umpire today. Tell the people why.
So, okay, just backstory. Pat Hoberg was fired because he shared an account with a friend where baseball bets were made. Now, there is no evidence that Pat Hoberg made any of the bets. However, he deleted text messages that were crucial
Scandal.
to MLB's investigation, which it's funny because if you think back to the Shohei Ohtani scandal where he fully cooperated, like that's why you fully cooperate, is so that when you're exonerated, it's like, hey, yeah, we did everything, and they, found no fault. Now, even when they don't find fault, technically, because he didn't fully cooperate, your ass gets fired. And when Obi-Wan is standing on the shores of Mustafar yelling, "You were the chosen one," he's talking to Pat Hoberg because he is one of the good ones. And now we have to deal with more C.B. Buckner games because Pat Hoberg got fired.
I hit that boo hard whenever you say C.B. Buckner.
It's awful. Like, they didn't even fire Angel Hernandez. And they gave
Bob Tan. I heard Pat Hoberg is a fall man for Las Diaz. Please investigate.
Yeah, wait, was Pat Hoberg's friend Ipe? Is that
I think so, yeah. Roy Estrada said he shared his account with Ipe. That's a tough look. It's a tough scene, man. So what he could apply for reinstatement, but he can't do that until after the full season. Yeah, the whole deleting the messages, I guess it's a bad look.
It's a terrible look. At best you can say is we didn't find fault because they couldn't, because he technically obstructed the investigation.
Yeah,
or he interfered. So all I'm saying, guys, if the FBI raids you, fully I'm just kidding. Don't do it.
Josh Gitt, great fucking point from Josh. It's like either allow gambling or ban it altogether. But don't ban the people gambling, and then have DraftKings and BetMGM and all these other spots sponsoring and advertising things. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough look.
It's tough. I agree. I would prefer if MLB or these professional sports organizations didn't affiliate themselves at all with gambling. But if you're gonna allow it, you definitely can't have players, and you definitely can't have officials associated with it. I cannot remember the basketball referee's name from way back when.
Somebody will have it in the chat.
Donaghy or something like that. Is it Tim
Donaghy? I don't know. It sounds like a name that I've heard.
Yeah.
Who was it? Eric has a really good point. Eric stepping in for Diane, who is out today because it's her birthday this week. She's in Vegas. But hit that like button, hit that subscribe, guys. We're trying to get 10,000 subscribers, and you could help us get there. If you're not subscribed but you're watching the show, subscribe. It's free. Do all that kind of stuff. Really does help out the channel. Also, happy birthday to Diane. Happened a couple days ago. She just turned 21, of course. Wink, wink. If you guys missed it, check out the interview I did with JJ Cooper of Baseball America today on Dodgers territory. I want to make sure I get that in there. And if you guys ever have things you want to get off your chest, Dodgers related, I would tell you to go ahead and call in to our voicemail hotline. We do have a couple of calls, a couple of voicemails from our series regulars we're going to get to right now. But in the future, guys, I'm not going to do any fresh ones now, but if you have some thoughts heading into next week, heading into when we'll be back live on Thursday, I'm going to revamp the way the voicemails happen once the season gets here, so we'll stay tuned for how that works. But if you have thoughts, please do sound off, leave a voicemail, and we'll get to it on Thursday. But that is the number there on the screen. And let's go ahead and get to that. That's not the right button. This is the right button. Let's get to that sweet, sweet voicemail hotline, and let's listen to our friend, our one of our fan favorites here, Mr. Noah Ortega, as you know. And what's funny is you're gonna appreciate it because you just kind of made one of those Star Trek connections. I know it's Star Wars, but let's go with it. Anyways, here's Noah.
Why, hello there, guys. I'm your fellow stormtrooper. We are finally the Empire. We are the Empire of the MLB. Everybody is coming up against us. We're everybody's World Series. We are going back to back. But before I move forward, don't worry, I don't miss. So that's one thing. Another thing is, it's so satisfying watching all these Padre fans and Giant fans cry. We literally, guys, Hogwatch, the Hogwatch literally is going to stop doing San Diego Padres content. That's how much we broke them. And AJ Preller and a couple of the Padre players, they're broke too. They are freaking done. I am a little satisfied watching their tears. Unfortunately, though, I'm one of the minority where, dang, I feel like them being good actually helped us during the regular season. I feel like even though we are the great Empire, we can't be too relaxed and go into the off-season, or not the off-season, the playoffs, and just not play well. So at the end of the day, it's all about the playoffs, guys. As much as we're the Empire and we got the Death Star, it's all about that final battle. Who will win? We probably will. So that's what I got to say, guys. And as always, fuck the Padres, fuck Fernando Tatis, fuck Manny Machado, fuck the Dodger Stadium parking lot, and for the love of God, fuck the Ghost Runner. See ya.
There's baby Richie Flores, also known as Darth Noah, also known as Noah Ortega, as you know. Listen, it's the Evil Empire thing. I thought that was one of the more lazy questions asked at FanFest of Dave. This is kind of my thoughts on it, though.
Yeah. I it's funny. I was thinking about the Padres in their unfortunate situation with their ownership and how they're kind of crying poor at this point. And I'm sitting here thinking that Manny Machado needs a new contract because the last time he was up for a contract, it was because of the price of eggs. Now what are the price of eggs? He needs another 10 years, $350 million, Clint.
Have him playing till he's 50. I'm in. Whatever.
Pretty much. Yep.
Whatever. Have him ruining people's fun and lives and F Manny Machado and all that kind of stuff. All right, we got another one. Let's listen to our buddy Richie Flores and hear what he has to say on the voicemail hotline.
Well, hey, Clint. Happy Monday to you. So let's talk about Suckfest, shall we?
Suckfest.
So I left the DeVore Man Cave around 9:30. Got to the stadium about an hour after. And I was already greeted to close gates at Gate C. And the cars to get in were already about a quarter of a mile to a half a mile long just to get in. Then once the gates opened, the line to get in through security to the venue wasn't all that bad. And I was in about 11 o'clock, and it was fine. Fast forward to about 12:30, the 35,000 people who had bought tickets for that event basically overwhelmed the entire venue. There were lines everywhere. Lines for concessions. Lines to get into the vendor booth. Lines to get into the garage sale. Lines to even try to get into the line that fed into the main stage where there were so many people you couldn't even see any of the players on the main stage. At the end of the day, Disneyland couldn't believe how many lines there were and how bad it was. Then I understand that even the media, the amount of media was crazy, just like a postseason game. It was incredible. Taylor Swift couldn't believe how many people on the media and how much attention FanFest was getting. At the end of the day, it was a total shit show. It was everybody who walked away more disappointed than a guy with ED who finally got the date with the hot blonde only to realize he didn't go to his local CVS pharmacy to pick up his new prescription of Viagra. It's going to be a real test this year. The Shohei bobbleheads will be a shit show. The traffic, the capacity of Dodger Stadium, I don't know if it's going to be able to handle all of the swelling crowds this year. It's going to be epic. Get there early. Mm-hmm. So fuck the Dodger Stadium parking lot. Fuck Manny Machado. Fuck the Padres. Fuck Tatis. And for the love of God, fuck the Ghost Runner. See ya.
We're going to get demonetized, gentlemen. We're going to get demonetized.
That was going to happen.
Yeah, so, again, I was at FanFest. I was in the media side of things. And it was pretty super simple. I wasn't able to do any of the things I wanted to do at FanFest. I wanted to shoot a video like I shot last year, walking around, doing man on the street stuff. And to the credit, I saw a few people, more so the Instagram people doing those kind of videos and whatnot. And of course, they put it on their YouTubes or whatever. But they weren't behind the scenes in the media side of things. I saw a lot of people just walking around looking a little lost. I mean, it was tough. The parking lot, having to do it in the parking lot, and doing it where they didn't want to do it. That was not the plan. Obviously the fires kind of changed some things significantly for the Dodgers, and the stadium renovation changed what everybody would strongly prefer. What they've done the last 2 years there at the stadium. But positive takeaways. One of the things Richie said, or at least alluded to, and some of the things the players said, is just look at all of these people here. Look at the excitement. It was in the air, even through. Luckily it wasn't a hot day. It was as nice of a day as you can get. The lines were long. The activations were kind of mid. I don't even know what the food and beverage situation was like. Luckily, media was taken care of. We had drinks and Dodger dogs and all that kind of stuff. Shout out Dodgers taking care of your boy. But the important thing is if 35 people showed up to kind of maybe get a glimpse of some of these people at a far away on a stage, we're awesome. This is going to be a phenomenal season. And like Richie said, get there early, especially if there's a giveaway. Things are going to get nuts. There is that was it the World Series trophy replica that's happening with the Padres in town. I said earlier in Dodgers territory, line up now. Now's the time to get there. But you going to try to get out to a game this year? Are we doing this?
I doubt it. It like I said, saving for wedding and honeymoon stuff.
Yeah,
my travel.
I don't believe in marriage.
I know my travel funds are severely limited at this point, and I'm already traveling way too much because I'm at another friend's wedding in San Diego. I know.
Marriage is the leading cause of bankruptcy, everybody's what I'm hearing right now. But guys, that about wraps it up. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on this Monday. Los Dodgers WS Champs wants us to talk about Luka. Give me some Luka excitement in 10 seconds or less.
He puts the orange ball in the hoop really good.
Hey, and he's also too fat or whatever. The Mavs.
The clip of him getting off the plane and then the picture with Rob Pelinka, I was like, what are we complaining about here? It's like somebody posted what? He was at 15% body fat, so we had to trade him. It's he looks fine to me.
Who was it? There was somebody, some figure online who had a really good point saying, I like the connection. This could be one of the worst trades. Maybe this trade is worse than Boston trading Mookie Betts, because I every once in a while will think of that. Think of the fact that Boston let Mookie Betts go over what was a very, very reasonable contract ask from him. Anyways, Luka is a Laker, and AD is unavailable tonight because he's injured.
Hey, no, shout out to AD, man. He was great. He was so much fun.
You know what's funny?
Watch.
I got shit, man. I got shit when during a Bet Online read a couple months ago. I got shit about an AD joke. I said I think they're going to retire his street clothes in the rafters at some day, and I said he's always broken, he's always glass. Dude puts up 40 and then is unavailable the next night.
Who used to call him street? Like Shaq, or was it Charles Barkley used to call him street clothes?
All that said, though, I don't know. I honestly don't know. This is the extent of my basketball knowledge these days. I have not paid attention for a while. That said, I love AD. I love what he did for that team over the years. Sucks that it couldn't work out one last run, but it is what it is. My dude, you're glass.
No,
sorry.
He's great on the glass. I don't know.
Perfect time. EB says AD equals Mr. Glass, right as I said it.
Exactly. The Mavs got a good one. Obviously, he'll end up in the Hall at some point. I wouldn't be shocked if his jersey is hung up in the rafters at some point, just because how good he was. He was a perennial, all NBA player. The fact that he didn't win a Defensive Player of the Year is crazy to me. He's so good.
That was robbery.
For his size, his skill set should not exist. He's really fun to watch, especially when he's right. And he's I like it better when he's playing downhill, but maybe that's just old man shake fist at sky.
Yeah, what's funny, man, there's not a chance in hell the Lakers were ever going to look to trade AD unless you're able to get Luka. It's the only way it works.
You do that trade a million times out of a million. No, if you get a call, it says like, okay, Luka's available. It's like, all right, what trade base? We'll do it for AD. All right, fine, whatever. Yeah, sure, whatever.
I love the people being like putting that trade in on, whatever Laker or NBA the show or whatever the hell the game is, and it rejects it. But as we exit, 999 Super Chat from our friend Francisco Diaz says, as a Dodger fan that lives in San Diego, I'm absolutely going to that World Series trophy giveaway so I can take it to work and give my Padre fan co-workers the old, you got to be quicker than that. Give them hell with that. Don't let them take the trophy, though. Don't let them ruin it. Don't let them bend it. Guys.
People hate AD. Wow. Jesus.
It's pretty good. He was fine. Nicole says not going to get his jersey retired. I think he will. I think he does. They kind of retire a lot of jerseys, and all you got to do is win a championship. But
you only need 10 at a time, so listen, it's not like baseball.
I already pissed off enough people talking in and out. I'm not going to go in on Lakers and AD. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the questions, comments, hanging out with us in the chat tonight on this Monday. Thank you guys for the super chats. You guys are awesome. You really do help make the show continue to happen. Also, you guys clicking and watching the show and telling your friends and telling your grandma about the show helps the show happen. If you're looking for a way to support the show and you don't want a super chat, hitting that subscribe button is the best way to support the show. There's also our Patreon and YouTube members. I want to shout out our Patreon and YouTube members for helping support the show. If you guys are looking for a different way to support that is on the financial side, check it out. It's $5 a month. You also get access to our Discord server where we're all in there. We're all talking Dodger baseball and all that kind of stuff. Do check it out. Shout out to our moderators for doing a kick-ass job in the chat. All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online. That is producer Kevin. Give him a follow at Skinner7Kevin on the Twitter. Give me a follow, Real FRG on the Twitter, the X, the Blue Sky. I don't post a whole lot really anywhere. But anyways, again, hopefully we earned a thumbs up on the way out. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.